Hi there, and welcome back. Now, let's go into testing and previewing our simulation. So to begin, let's just go here and click the Save and Play simulation, which will automatically force us into our experience. While it is loading, you can see the controls listed here: W, A, S, and D to move, E to grab, X to drop what you're holding, C to crouch, and Tab to turn on and off the microphone, which is not enabled in our case. You can press Escape to pause. There will also be a pause button that you can press with your mouse. Now that we have loaded in, we can just click Start. Your microphone is shown here, as well as the other controls in here. And if you want to change the name that the system knows you as, you can put it here, and you need to restart the simulation for it to recognize that change. So with that, off we go. So, as we authored, we are now in our environment. We see our introduction, which is what we changed the label to, our text, and the I Understand tab. We have our description that we put here of this is a science work table that shows up whenever we highlight over the work table here. Over here we have our notification tab, which is the history or chat history of what has been said. The controls are also here in case you forgot them, which you can minimize by pressing that button there. You can also hide the chat if you would like. Down here in the lower right hand corner we have the instructions, which is what has shown up thus far. We have our chat history, if you want to press that to bring it up. The ability to pause, which will just bring us back here. Some settings that we can change, whether that is the volume of our system, which I should probably turn back up. Our mouse sensitivity, whatever our preferred name is. Player movement controls, whether you want to use strafe or rotation. Have closed captions show up when you're speaking, how much time you have before it times out, and you can reset the defaults there, as well as our current FPS. And last we have the help action, which just brings us back here. So with that, let's follow the directions and utilize or move forward. So we have our gloves and our glasses. When we highlight over them, we will see it highlights in yellow. So let's use the glasses first here. And I can see now I forgot to do an action in our simulation to indicate that we've put on the glasses and the gloves. We'll adjust that in a moment. Use the Bunsen burner to light up the burner. So let's highlight over this and click, and we can see the flame turns on. So now we're going to highlight over the spatula and click on it, which is now in our hand. Now on desktop, I know it might be a little bit hard to see, so I'm trying to adjust it. You can see any object that you've grabbed or held is automatically snapped to the right of your camera view and moves with me. In VR, when you grab an object, it is held in the VR controller's hand. And now let's start testing the samples from left to right. So this should be strontium. We're told to put this here into the flames.
Strontium gives crimson-red color in the flame test. It is due to the excitation of electrons by the thermal energy, which is then followed by the excitation of electrons to ground state along with liberation of light in the visible range.
Okay, telling us to clean it with HCl, which is there. Alright, so I see that there are two mistakes that are at least present, which we will adjust. So, quickly going through here, we've gathered our second sample.
The halogen present in the compound reacts with copper to form a volatile copper halide which imparts blue or green color to the flame.
And for our last sample,
Potassium is colorless or in white, but when it is heated, it produces violet flame due to excitation of the electrons to the higher energy orbitals. Potassium burns with light purple-colored flame.
Okay, so we have our quiz question here. And as we can see, it's a single selection, so let's go with red. And that is correct. That concludes our simulation, and then we get our feedback of how much time it took us to go through it, but we used the glasses first, and we got our quiz question correct. So we can close this, which is the end of the simulation. There's nothing we can do here, or we could have exited directly. So let's pause and quit, and go back to the authoring area to quickly make our adjustments based off of our experience that we saw here. So, back into the scenario flow, let's go back to the very beginning. And at the introduction, I realized I forgot to have Dr. Arnold look at us. So, in order to change that, we're going to go to this drop down here, find the look at function, and click create. We're going to want to move that up to the top as the first action to be done. Now, the look at function lets you select a virtual person and have it look at either a player, another virtual person, or a virtual object in the space. By having this turned on, Dr. Arnold will now be looking at us as we go throughout our activities in the space, rather than just staring blankly ahead. Next, the component that I forgot to do here is hiding the gloves or the glasses after we use them. So we're going to go to this drop down here, set the attribute, find our gloves, go to this, find visibility, and set to false. And when we exit, because we know we're going to use the glasses immediately after exiting, we're going to then hide them here. For the state action of using glasses first, we're going to do the same thing, but in the inverse, to where when you exit, you are hiding the gloves, and when you enter, you are hiding the glasses. Okay, so with this, they will disappear after being worn and put on. Okay, there were no issues with anything here, but what I did notice is that I did forget to actually burn the sample. So, we're going to quickly create this attribute, move this to the top, and after we collide it, we are going to take our white cylinder, wherever it may be, and we're going to make it so that it is not visible, thus simulating it being burnt. Okay, so again, find our white cylinder, make it so that it's no longer visible, drag it to the top, again confirm that we did successfully drag it, go here, move it back up, find our white cylinder, and hide it again. And now when we burn our sample, it will actually go away. So with this, we have adjusted our simulation, and I'm going to go through it one more time, hitting the Save and Play simulation. So that will just quickly save it and throw us right in. Now if you don't want to have to click the button after it is finished, you can click this Auto Start, which will automatically throw us in once we get to the beginning. Like so. Okay, so now let's start over here. Left click on the glasses, and this time they disappear. Excellent. Let's click on the burner to turn it on. Grab our spatula. Gather our sample. This time let's start from the right. You can see that the cylinder is there. When we burn it, it should disappear now.
Potassium is colorless or in white, but when it is heated, it produces violet flame due to excitation of the electrons to the higher energy orbitals. Potassium burns with light purple colored flame.
Ah, right. And also, Dr. Arnold will have his head move when we do. There's one other thing I'm going to adjust after this, which is having it so that rather than it showing Dr. Arnold Light, we're going to rename it to just be Dr. Arnold. So, we'll make that final change. Gathering the second one.
The halogen present in the compound reacts with copper to form a volatile copper halide which imparts blue or green color to the flame.
Okay, and we're going to just repeat one of those samples to confirm that it only lets us move.
The halogen present in the compound reacts with copper to form a volatile copper halide which imparts blue or green color to the flame. Strontium gives crimson red color in the flame test. It is due to the excitation of electrons by the thermal energy, which is then followed by the excitation of electrons to ground state along with liberation of light in the visible range.
And let's get the quiz question wrong this time. Alright, so it is identifying we used the glasses first, and that we got the quiz question incorrect. Let's hit exit and go back to the editing field. And change Dr. Arnold. Here. So rather than being like this, and there we go. Let's hit save. And we can now experience our simulation. If we want, what we could also do at this point is if we have made a change that we didn't want to, we can look at our history here and make these adjustments to revert the save to whatever it was when we last did something if you need to recover from some kind of failure. All of these options are here for you as necessary in case you accidentally did something that you don't, or that you did save and there's a change you were testing or something like that. So that concludes how I would begin testing our simulations. Next, I will cover how you can add and test additional features to this simulation, such as chat agents and other functionalities that you may be interested in. Thank you so much.